Forgive Me Father 2 combines the cosmic horror of Lovecraft with the ripping and tearing of Doom. And with the game finally out, we have a more realized sequel that still unfortunately stumbles a little bit in the dark. Forgive Me Father 2 takes place very quickly after the events of the first game. We play as the priest who is in a mental asylum, but with strange visions haunting him. Are they real? Are they fake? Why does everything want to kill us? Well, we're going to have to run through a lot of levels and shoot our way to figure that out. As with the first game, Forgive Me Father 2 definitely ups things in terms of the art style, kind of like the comic book aesthetic. I really love the level of detail to the different weapon animations and to the environments, and of course all the nasty enemies you're going to fight. As with the first game, this is traditional boomer shooteriness, as you'll run through each level blasting your way through enemies, arenas, and trying to get to the end. A new feature are collectibles in the form of clocks, which may go down as one of the most annoying collectibles in terms of their noise, as per the forums of the game. With the general gunplay, things have been improved pretty well in terms of giving the player more customization options that feel right. You'll have access to a grand total of 6 weapons. Each weapon has 4 different variants to them. Now, unlike the first game that I felt like some variants were just head over heels better than everything else, here the variants are more or less side grades and will kind of embody different playstyles. Your standard assault rifle is a pretty solid weapon. You could change it into the enemy. That is a kind of rocket or missile launching rifle that can only be fired in short to mid range but does far more damage. Your melee has many different effects, such as going with your try and true knife, slow and heavy axe, or a guy's hand that you smack people with to curse them. This also goes with the greatly improved Madness system. In the first game, Madness could be activated to kind of give you a short-term buff, increasing your damage and so on. Now it turns into a pick your flavor of buffing, as you can equip up to 3 pages in it. You can have passive pages that will be on at all times, or active ones that will only trigger when Madness goes on. And you are free to mix and match them however you see fit. And this provides a really nice kind of, emergency move that you get to decide how it works. I went with increased defense, more damage, and lifesteal to try and give myself a little bit more survivability. But you are once again free to choose however you want. Now, this is all very well and good, and the enemies don't feel as spongy in this one compared to the first one. Now, with that said, you'll still have some very challenging fights, and this gets to kind of where Forgive Me Father 2 stumbles a little bit. Part of the issue that I had with the first game is that the enemies, especially on the higher difficulties, tend to kind of overwhelm and outmatch the player. They are faster, their bullets are faster, and it becomes very difficult to fight them as you do not have any inherent defensive moves. The only thing you have is your Mad Tome, which you do get one of few powers that can kind of make it hard for enemies to hit you. But there's a caveat to that I'll come back to in a second. For most of this game, I found the arenas to be very fair, and again, the great gunplay kind of carries this game from beginning to end. It was when we got to the final 3 levels that this game got very nasty in terms of enemy placements and arena designs. Having enemies hidden behind corners that you won't see or hear until they just walk up and smack you, or on expert level, just walk up and smack you. Arenas get far more challenging, and you're going to have a lot of them that are just you in a confined area with lots of enemies, especially those that have heat-seeking attacks that move very quickly. There's one enemy that bounces around like a super ball, and I almost finished this one on expert difficulty if it wasn't for the penultimate level that features one of the nastiest starting arenas that I've seen. And again, without any defensive moves to help you, it just becomes painful. I think given enough time and masochism, I could probably get through it on expert mode. It will require you to definitely swap out your weapons, your variants, and your Mad Tome. Now, The Mad Tome unfortunately has one big weakness. You can only equip up to 3 pages, and that includes both active and passives. So you really don't get a chance to like experiment with a lot of the cool stuff in. I would have liked maybe either having like the ability to find or upgrade the tome, or just say I can equip like 2 passives and 2 actives, and that could be it. Something along those lines. Because it does feel very limiting, especially again, given the difficulty of this game. Now, as a point or some good news, the boss fights do feel a bit toned down compared to the first one. They're not as crazy to fight or as health spongy as they were, and since you get access to all your weapon types within kind of like the first episode, you can pretty much fight them very even-handedly. And again, this is I think the best part for Gimme Follower 2, that the gunplay just is solid. Every weapon has that great punch to it, and you will probably find whatever build you like within the different weapon variants. And if it wasn't for the issues I had with the level design, I would uniformly recommend Forgive Me Follower 2 all the way around. It is pound for pound better than the first game, warts and all, but it still has similar warts to it. As a new issue, I have to say that I did not enjoy the flashlight. The game borrows the same kind of lighting mechanism from Amnesia the Bunker, in which you have to wind your little flashlight up to get just some basic lighting going, and of course it runs out fairly quickly. Run out of light in the middle of an arena that's in the dark, and you're pretty much going to be in trouble. And enemies can be very hard to spot in this one, because everything has that kind of comic book art style to it. It means enemies can blend into the environments really well, including kind of sniper enemies, as well as one of the more nastier levels, which is just a giant mushroom forest that good luck trying to see more than 5 feet in front of you in a few of those areas. So with everything said, if you enjoyed the first game, you're going to find just an overwhelmingly better experience with Forgive Me Follower 2. But if you did not enjoy the first one, I don't think enough has been improved in this one to smooth out those issues that I have. And I do hope if the developers continue this series going forward, they look to at least throw some kind of Lovecraftian bone when it comes to trying to survive some of the later encounters. So with that said, Forgive Me Follower 2 was played with a press key provided by the developer. All the footage shown here is from 1.0. We did play this throughout early access, but we ran through the entire game on stream at release. Let me take away your game. Designed to involve fathers, forgiveness, or Lovecraft. Please reach out. Let me know what you think about this one down below. Thanks for watching, and see everyone in the next video. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff. Be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and you're interested more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.